Hi everyone, welcome back to Year of the Book, where we're documenting our writing journey and all the bumps along the way. Got an itchy nose. Sorry about that. So, it's still itchy. Should we start again? So I didn't film my writing session tonight because all it basically consisted of was some final edits and me submitting something. So what I thought I would do instead is give you a little update on where I am with my submissions, because if you've been following my videos recently, you'll see that around June I started to submit my short stories to try and get them published through various avenues. So that's mostly what I've been focusing on really the past couple of months. I did write one new story and a couple of flash pieces in that time, but most of my writing sessions have been taken up with editing. And in the past couple of weeks, I've basically been editing one story over and over again. That's the one that I've just submitted, so it's gone now. Although I did change the first line just before sending it. So, anyway, it feels like I haven't done much writing the past few weeks because I've been working on this one story, and also because I skipped some sessions because we had people visiting, we had family here. I went out one evening. Wow, God forbid. So I skipped a couple of sessions. So I feel like I kind of haven't really made much progress. But I know they actually have quite made have 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 quite I have made progress. So I thought I would give you a little rundown of everything that I've submitted so far and any outcomes. So I have made a total of 9 submissions so far. There are some which are simultaneous submissions. So let's go through them. So the first submission I made was to the Bridport Prize, which is a famous writing competition, and to them I submitted a short story and a poem. Now, the short lists for that competition come out at the end of July, so I should have some kind of outcome soon. If any of those have been shortlisted, but nothing moving on that for now. Now, the same short story that I sent to the Bridport contest, I also submitted it to an anthology call. Now, this story, it was a little bit of a stretch that it fitted into the specific theme for this call. Based on my interpretation, I felt like it did. But then afterwards, I thought, oh, is that really what they're looking for? Anyway, I expect to hear from them by October. That's what I've got written down here. By the way, I have all these. They're in an Excel sheet. Now, some of these are submitted through Submittable, which keeps track of it for you, but not all of them are. So I have the Excel sheet as well. Another reason I have the Excel sheet is that a couple of these submissions, it's done through, the magazine's website. You fill out a form and so on. And you don't necessarily get like a confirmation email. So to me, that sends me into a panic that I haven't actually submitted something or that it hasn't reached them. And apparently that's quite normal. So that's why I like to keep track of everything in an Excel as well. Anyway, the next thing I submitted was my first flash fiction piece. So I submitted that on the 15th of June, and I received a rejection maybe 3 weeks later. So that was my first rejection. That is still the only rejection so far. Then I submitted a kind of micro flash piece to a contest on the 24th of June. The results of that don't come out until December. I'm really struggling with these long wait times, I have to say. Then I submitted another flash piece, slightly longer piece this time, to a magazine, and that was on the 1st of July, and I haven't heard back from them yet, although apparently they have relatively fast response time. They have a cap on their monthly submission window, so I think it caps at 50, so it means that they don't have a massive volume of things to go through. So I should hear from them fairly soon, I think, maybe by the end of the month. And then I submitted the same story to 2 different places on the same day. One was an anthology call, and haven't heard back from them. They're giving around 6 weeks response time. And then I also sent it to the London Magazine, which is one of the most prestigious literary magazines. And they had their submission window open, their free submission window. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to send it there. And their response time is 4 months. And then today, I submitted the story that I've been editing endlessly, basically since I wrote it in January. I finally submitted that to another anthology call. So that is a total of, it's 10 submissions if you include the poem as well, 9 if we're only going for the short fiction pieces. So that is everything I have submitted. I mean, so far this year, but really only since end of May, beginning of June, so the past 6 weeks or so. Now I am at kind of a crossroads of what to do next, because what do I have in my folder of drafts? I have a ton of other stories which are in first and second draft mode. A couple of unfinished ones still. And do I have any ideas? I have a couple of ideas as well that I'm still kind of brewing. I'm not ready to start writing them yet. But I need to decide what I want to do next. Now, one possible direction is that you might remember that I wrote a story set in an Italian villa when I was at an Italian villa for a work event. So that was a much longer story. It's 13,500 words. It's not quite enough to be a novella, which I think starts at 17,500 words. But I've been kind of thinking about this story the past couple of months, and there are several things in there that I felt like, oh, I wish I'd elaborated on this part more, or I think it could have done with this extra scene. And what I was thinking about doing is extending that story into a short novella. Partly so that I can add those bits, because I still feel like there's kind of more that can be added to that story, and partly because I want to see how I go with crafting a longer story. Essentially, I want to kind of challenge myself a little bit and see how that feels for me. Now, I'm pretty sure that the market for novellas probably the same as for short story collections. I don't know, but I mean, this is quite a sort of classic gothic horror story, so maybe there's more of a market for that. I don't know. So I'm thinking about whether I want to go back into that story and extend it, and think about where might I want to submit that, or I might do that the other way around. So I might have a look around and see if there are any calls for horror novellas that I want to prepare it for. So that's one possibility. And then I have these other sort of thirsty drafts, unfinished ones that I don't really know what I want to do with them yet. I also have a magazine in mind that I really want to submit something to, but I don't know what story to send to them. It's a magazine called The Dark, and they publish horror fiction, and they're known for having a really fast response time, like within a couple of days, which is amazing. They don't accept simultaneous submissions, so I can't send them something that I've already submitted. But, it doesn't really matter about that because they get back to you so quickly. But I just need to think about what I want to send there. I have some ideas. I've read quite a few stories on their magazine. They're all free online, which is cool. And I'm still kind of mulling it over. I just want to get the right story to them, essentially. Now, maybe I'm overthinking it. If they reject it within 48 hours, I can just send them another story, I think. But I just like to be really intentional in where I'm sending specific pieces. I have done a few simultaneous submissions, but I don't really like the idea of sending like the same story to loads of places, because I think that all these magazines and anthologies, they're looking for certain things. They have certain aims and scope, and I want to really kind of match my stories well to those different publications. So that is where I'm at. What to do next? I just don't know. I don't know. And then part of me wants to just start writing a new story, because I've spent several weeks now editing and submitting things. I feel like, I'm kind of getting away from like the writing that I wanted to do in the first place. So part of me thinks maybe I just start something new, but I just haven't decided. So let me know what you think I should do next. Do I keep editing and crafting these first drafts that I have? Do I go for the novella? Do I start something new? What do you think? And if you're a short story writer, I'd love to know how you go about making these decisions as well, because something that I've never really navigated before. And I think another reason why I'm thinking really carefully about what I do and when and how is because, my writing time is relatively small. I'm not writing every day. I don't have the energy and motivation to write every day, and I'm fine with that. I just write a couple of times a week, and that works for me. That's sustainable for me, but it's just not a lot of time. So I want to be really careful about how I use that time, to use it effectively, to use it like joyfully and mindfully as well. So let me know what you think. That is everything for this evening. I did probably wrote like one paragraph, but I did do this final edits on that story that had 6 rounds of editing. The first story that I wrote this year, it's a story that's close to my heart, and now it's gone. It has been submitted. So we will see how that goes. And I'm going to update you guys every time I get a rejection, every time I get an outcome. I'll be letting you know. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.